Hello, Year 8. For the final time this term, this is Mr. Drew. Um, this is your final history lesson before before the summer holidays, and before you come back to us as Year 9s, embarking on your GCSE, years. This is got to be a bit lighter than a normal history lesson. I wanted to do more of a kind of creative thought experiment with you, just to ease us into the summer holidays, but keep us thinking about the and we have. I'm going to explain a bit more in a second. So this is the future history of technology. That's going to be your title on your Microsoft Word document. We're not using Teams today, we're using Microsoft Word. And it'll become clear why in a second. So your title, Future History of Technology. You will need to use Microsoft Word, or a pen and paper is fine. So the first thing I want to do is to get you thinking about the idea, the concept of thinking about the future. And in 1989, and right up until when I was at school, which wasn't too long ago, there was a great show called Tomorrow's World, which basically looked at technology in different areas and talked about what life was going to be like, and displayed brand new technologies. And it's really, really cool. It's really interesting. And this video is an episode from 1989 where they looked at what life would be like at home in 2020. And they showcase some technologies that were being developed, but they mostly describe what technology is going to be like in the future. And there are 4 questions I'd like you to answer by watching this video in full sentences, please. What do they think technology will be like? Okay, what's the technology like? Is it lots of little devices? Is it lots of big machines? Is it wireless? Is it do people have to press buttons to use it? Is it driven by steam, or is it driven by electricity, etc.? What do they think technology will be like? And can you give an example of one of the technologies that they say will be around houses in 2020? And then I want you to say how accurate their prediction was about technology. And I think, it shouldn't be too hard for you to work out how accurate it is. Just look at technology in your house and compare it to what they're saying technology will be like in 2020. And number 4, what factor do they mention is the most important reason for changing technology? And this factor that we've discussed. So we've discussed individuals, economics, war, the environment, changes in beliefs. So it's one of those, and they do mention it a couple of times, and it is what they believe is the main driver for changing technology. I want you to pause this video here and use the link in the description to watch this video of Tomorrow's World and answer the 4 questions. Do that now. Okay. Hopefully you found that quite interesting, if a bit strange. That video was for me, it was quite surprising because it wasn't too far off, I thought, what has kind of happened. Although the ways it looks may be different, I think that was a fairly good reflection of what we are doing now, which is kind of what this whole lesson is about. People throughout time have thought about the future. Thousands of years ago in Greece, at a place called Delphi, which is on the left-hand side, there was an oracle, a person who predicted the future, or actually, in this case, was meant to be able to tell the future. And people would travel from all over Greece and from further afield just to see the oracle, which is the young woman in the picture, and ask her what was going to happen to them. They believed that the god Apollo was speaking through this woman and therefore was able to tell the future. And people were interested to know what would happen to them personally, but also what would happen to their countries, and what would happen in the world around them. So for thousands of years, people have looked at the future as well as thinking about the past. History is as much doing that as about studying what has already happened. Leonardo da Vinci came to my mind as one of the most interesting people to think about doing this. He was clearly an incredibly intelligent person. He studied science as well as art and philosophy, and he knew something about everything, I think it's fair to say. And not only this, he put his skills and his knowledge to work in many different ways, including technology. And what I'm showing you here is the original sketches at the bottom that Leonardo da Vinci did for various inventions, and then models of those inventions based on his designs. For instance, you can see a tank is one invention that he created, the sort of conical vehicle in the middle, the military tank. He also invented a structure which is basically a helicopter in terms of the function and the way it's meant to be kept in the air. The parachute, and even apparently a spring-driven car. So no need for horses, no need for any animals. And it shows you that although this man lived, roughly 500 years ago or more, actually, he's able to connect the dots and think about technology which wouldn't actually become really feasible until hundreds of years after his death. And this is kind of what we're going to do today. We're going to think about technology in the future, not 500 years in the future, 50 years, I'm going to say. Well, actually, maybe that's 30 years in 2050. And we're going to just think about what technology might be like based on what we already know, just like Leonardo da Vinci. And to give you some ideas, I'm going to give you plenty of links. There's a couple more videos, but just to kick off, these are images mostly of London, but the steely-eyed among you might recognise Coruscant from Star Wars, and also a scene of, I think it's New York in America. I think the thing that hits you first, perhaps, is the size of buildings. People think that the future is going to be all very, very tall buildings, skyscrapers. There's in Saudi Arabia, I think at the moment, someone is trying to build a skyscraper a kilometre high, which would be ridiculous if it was built, but also probably quite useless because it would probably bend in the wind quite a lot. People have said recently that tall buildings are not the future, simply because they're really uneconomical. But this is what we're thinking about. What is a settlement going to look like in the future? What is transport going to look like in the future? Obviously, flying cars are top of the list. People love the idea of flying cars, spaceships, traveling to other worlds, all that sort of stuff. So I want you just to reflect on what London might be like in 30 years' time when you boys are approaching my age, or maybe a little bit older. What do you think London is going to be like? What do you think the world is going to be like? How is technology going to have changed for us? And to give you some more help, I'm going to give you these two videos to watch. I'm going to give you more links that you can read articles about technology in the future, and you can do your own research. I'm giving you free rein to search YouTube for videos about technology and see what people are saying about future technology. So these links are in the description. If you click on them now, you can watch them and just absorb the ideas, think about them. There's no need to write anything down yet. Okay, so pause the video here and do that. Okay, this is the only task you're going to do this lesson. The questions earlier weren't really a task, they're just questions. This is going to require you to really think and to create something for me to read. I'm kind of hoping that some of you, because you're using Microsoft Word, might get some cool pictures off the internet, or you might draw some cool pictures. If you do something which really impresses me or is really thoughtful and really grabs my attention, I will display it in class in year 9 as part of my wonder wall. I'm going to put up the best work up on to my wall in my classroom to show it off. So please put all your effort into this. Have fun with it. Be creative. You know, just let your imagination go a bit wild. What do you want to see in technology? What kind of things would you like to be able to use and to see in the future? I'd like you to write what you think under each of the areas that we've been thinking about. So what kind of settlements are we going to have in the future? What kind of transport are we going to have? What's public health going to be like? To think about that, there's plenty of videos about exoskeletons, robotic limbs, robotic eyes, all sorts of stuff going on there. And in military, we've got, drones already, but in the future, Terminator style robots, lasers, all sorts of things going on. And then any other ideas you might have about maybe communication, like telephones or teleportation or, spaceships, whatever you want to do. go wild with it, okay? But under those 5 headings, and not only say what the technology is, but I want you to say why this technology has occurred. That's where the little bit of historical thinking comes in. I think it's pretty safe to say war will be involved at some point. I think it's safe to say that there'll be individuals like Elon Musk, for instance, and other scientists who are, working hard on the new inventions of the future. So think about why a technology might happen. And to give you an example, I've written a paragraph on the left. Read along with me. In 2050, no one will use fossil fuels. Instead, the main sources of power will be from nuclear power stations, which were seen as the most efficient source of energy which could be created most quickly. This technology was developed because people feared global warming more and more. By 2030, there were much more extreme temperatures which caused environmental disasters such as droughts, but also hurricanes. By switching to nuclear energy, there was much less pollution in the atmosphere and on the planet. Scientists will have developed efficient renewable energy batteries, which made solar, wind, and hydropower a lot less expensive and easy to store. Hydrogen-powered cars took over electric cars since they only released water into the environment, and fueling them was a lot less destructive to the planet. So I've said what I think energy will be like in the future, a little bit about transport, how it's powered, and I've said why. Basically, environmental concerns drive changes of how we get energy. So, boys, take your time. You've got loads of it. Okay, be creative. Okay, there is almost nothing you can do that is wrong. I want you to write plenty. I don't want you to just write a sentence and hand it in. If you do, I'll be so upset and sad for you. Okay, please give it your best shot. And pause the video here, and I will talk to you later. Before you go, submit this to Show My Homework, either as a Word document or a photograph. And if there's any questions, any problems, please get in touch with your teacher, either me, Miss Slater, or Mr. Weir. Have a look back over your work. Have you done enough? Is it more than just 5 sentences for each, for the whole thing? Is there a paragraph for each section? Have you included any pictures? Have you made it a bit jazzy? Maybe you want to think about doing that. Other than that, boys, have a really, really good summer holidays. I'm looking forward to reading your work. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again in year 9 when you come back, and getting started on your GCSEs. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.